Imagine waking up to your world being torn apart. That's exactly what happened to the people of San Francisco on April 18, 1906. This wasn't just another tremor, it was the moment that redefined a city. Today, we're not just going to talk about history. We're going to step back in time, using cutting-edge simulations and historical accounts to recreate an immersive, ground-shaking detail, the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. We'll feel the ground heaves, see the city crumble, and witness the birth of a firestorm that would rage for days. The time is 5:12 a.m. San Francisco is asleep. The city, a bustling hub of gold rush dreams and Victorian elegance, is shrouded in a cool, pre-dawn mist. Gas lamps cast a soft glow on cobblestone streets, and the iconic cable cars are silent in their barns. In the homes of the city's 500,000 residents, from the opulent mansions of Nob Hill to the crowded tenements south of Market Street, there is a sense of peace. But deep beneath the surface, a colossal strain is reaching its breaking point. The San Andreas Fault, a titanic scar running 800 miles along California, has been building up stress for centuries. Now, the lock is about to break. Without warning, the earth explodes. A rupture begins miles offshore, racing along the fault line at a terrifying speed of nearly 8,000 miles per hour. In San Francisco, the ground doesn't just shake, it lurches and convulses violently. Imagine being thrown from your bed by an invisible giant. The initial foreshock lasts about 20 seconds, a violent jolt that sends people scrambling in confusion. But that's just the prelude. The main shock hits. For 42 agonizing seconds, the city is at the mercy of unimaginable forces. The ground rises and falls in waves, some reportedly several feet high. Eyewitnesses describe the sound as a deafening, deep roar, a horrifying combination of grinding earth, flintering wood, and shattering glass. On Market Street, the city's main artery, chaos reigns. The magnificent City Hall, a structure that took 20 years to build and was meant to stand for centuries, is reduced to a skeletal ruin in less than a minute. Its massive dome collapses, a symbol of civic pride turned to dust. All along the street, elegant brick buildings, once thought to be the pinnacle of modern construction, simply disintegrate. Facadas peel away, crashing onto the streets below. People who fled their homes are now faced with a new danger, a hailstorm of bricks and debris. The very ground they stand on is a moving, unpredictable enemy. Let's look at the geology of it. San Francisco's landscape played a cruel role in its own destruction. Neighborhoods like the Mission District and the area south of Market were built on what is called made land, essentially landfill dumped into the bay to create more real estate. This loose, water-saturated soil behaved like quicksand during the quake, a phenomenon we now call liquefaction. Buildings in these areas didn't just collapse, they sank, tilted, and toppled over like children's blocks. Sturdy Victorian homes, the quintessential image of San Francisco, were ripped from their foundations and pitched into the streets. It was a terrifying demonstration of how human development can amplify natural disasters. Meanwhile, on the solid bedrock of Nob Hill and Telegraph Hill, the experience was different but no less terrifying. The grand hotels and mansions of the wealthy swayed violently, but their foundations held firmer. Inside, chandeliers swung like pendulums, furniture slid across floors, and fine china smashed to pieces. But the structures themselves largely remained standing. This stark contrast in destruction, dictated by the ground beneath, created a patchwork of devastation across the city. You could be on one block and see total ruin, and on the next, find buildings seemingly untouched. But the earthquake was only the first act of this tragedy. As the shaking subsided, a new, more relentless enemy emerged: fire. The quake had systematically dismantled the city's ability to fight fires. Water mains, brittle cast iron pipes, had shattered in hundreds of places. The city's water supply was gone. At the same time, ruptured gas lines were leaking flammable gas into the air, and overturned stoves and lamps in countless homes provided the spark. Small fires began to pop up all across the city, dozens of them. In a city built largely of wood, these small fires quickly grew, merging into an unstoppable inferno. One of the most infamous was the ham and eggs fire. A woman in Hayes Valley, determined to make breakfast for her family despite the chaos, lit her stove. The chimney had been damaged by the quake, and a stray spark ignited the rubble. This seemingly small act started a blaze that would become a major arm of the city-consuming firestorm. With no water and overwhelmed fire crews, the flames spread block by block, driven by the wind. The fire chief himself, Dennis Sullivan, was critically injured when a chimney from a neighboring hotel collapsed on his fire station, leaving the department leaderless at its most critical hour. For the next 3 days, San Francisco burned. The fires moved with a terrifying logic, consuming everything in their path. The glow could be seen from 100 miles away. The heat was so intense it melted steel and glass. Survivors described the sky black with smoke during the day and an apocalyptic orange at night. The roar of the fire was a constant, deafening presence. Trapped between the collapsed ruins and the advancing wall of flames, hundreds of thousands of people were forced to flee. They grabbed what few possessions they could carry and made their way to parks like Golden Gate Park, the Presidio, and the beaches, which became massive refugee camps. In a desperate, and ultimately controversial, attempt to stop the fire's advance, the military and civic leaders decided to use dynamite to create fire breaks. The idea was to demolish buildings in the path of the fire to deny it fuel. However, many of the crews were inexperienced with explosives. Instead of cleanly demolishing the buildings, they often just shattered them, creating more flammable debris and, in some cases, actually spreading the flames with the force of the blast. This well-intentioned but poorly executed plan likely contributed to the destruction of areas that might have otherwise been saved. When the fires finally burned themselves out, the scale of the devastation was almost incomprehensible. Over 28,000 buildings were destroyed, covering nearly 500 city blocks. More than half the city's population, over 225,000 people, were left homeless. The official death toll at the time was put at around 478, but modern historians believe the true number was likely over 3,000, as many deaths in Chinatown and poorer neighborhoods went unrecorded. The city of San Francisco, the jewel of the West Coast, was a smoking ruin. Yet, in the midst of this utter devastation, the spirit of the city refused to die. Before the ashes were even cool, the people of San Francisco began to rebuild. The phrase "the city that knows how" became their mantra. They cleared rubble, set up makeshift businesses, and started planning a new, more resilient San Francisco. The 1906 earthquake was a profound tragedy, but it also became a catalyst for innovation. It led to massive improvements in earthquake-resistant construction and a better understanding of seismology that helps keep us safer today. The city that rose from the ashes was different, stronger, wiser, and forever shaped by those 42 seconds of shaking and 3 days of fire. The 1906 quake wasn't just the end of an old city, it was the violent, fiery birth of the modern San Francisco we know today. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey back in time. It's a powerful reminder of nature's force and the resilience of the human spirit. If you found this recreation insightful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most impactful moments. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next video.